Hi guys, and congratulations on your nomination and accepting the challenge to audition for TriDAC in the visual arts. I wanted to go over the audition requirements to clarify a few things for you. I know this can be confusing when you first look at it, so I'm just going to do an overview with you, and if you have any further questions you can give me a call or you can email me. So these first things, these first bullets are just, this is why I nominated you in the first place. You have a passion for the visual arts, you have skills, and so these are the reasons why I nominated you, and I'm excited that you are going to audition. Now, let's start here. This is where it starts to get into the actual audition, which is like a tryout. There are 3 components to the visual art audition, all of which each student must complete to be considered for selection. The audition will last for approximately 2 hours, and this is the only paper they gave me, but I'm sure they gave you where it's located. Used to be in the northeast of Columbia at a high school there. Now, there are 3 components here, so let's start with the one, a workshop. This is where you'll actually make some artwork when you're there. There'll be a creativity test. I have always been curious, but I'm not sure what this is. It seems like it would be fun to me. Then you're going to have a 5-minute contour drawing of an object. Now, we haven't done contour drawing in class, so I recommend that you go on YouTube and search for contour drawing, and you'll see some examples of this. It's just a drawing exercise that I think you'll be good at if you just practice it maybe a few times before the audition. Then you'll have a 45-minute still life drawing. A still life is when you draw a setup, so like if they had a basket and had, some fruit in the basket or some flowers set up, and you have to draw what you see set up in the basket. That's a still life. And let's see, and then the materials will be provided. This I think you'll be able to do. That's just looking and drawing what you see, just like we did with our Chuck Close self-portrait this year. You looked at your photograph and you drew what you see, drew what you saw. Same thing here with the still life. Okay, and materials. Now, the second thing, the portfolio review. The portfolio must meet the requirements listed below, and so we'll talk about that in just a minute. At the end of the audition, each student will take the portfolio home. The portfolio is a collection of your artwork, and you're going to actually make a physical portfolio that we'll talk about again down here. Now, so we're going to come back to this one. The workshop, that covers that. We'll come back to the component 2, and let's talk about the interview. It says, be prepared to discuss design and composition used in your portfolio. So what they're talking about there is the elements of art, and you guys know these, the elements of art. They're going to want you to talk about those in your artwork, and the principles of design, okay? And you are familiar with those as well, all right? And again, if you have any questions about any of these things, use the internet as a resource. But you guys know these things. They're looking to see that you can use the vocabulary that comes along with art. So design and composition. Think about the elements and principles of art, using those to describe your work. Also, be ready to talk about yourself as a student and a developing artist. What kinds of things do you like to make? What do you think makes you a good artist? What do you want to improve on? These are the things you could talk about there. Be ready to talk about an artist that inspires you and why. So I made a list of some of the artists we've studied to sort of get you going on thinking about who you might talk about and what you might talk about. Some examples of artists: Vincent van Gogh, he did Starry Night. Georgia O'Keeffe, at the beginning of this year, you guys did a project with Miss King, where you studied Georgia O'Keeffe. We just finished our big project on Chuck Close. We've studied in the past, now this goes into the past years. This was 4th grade, then we get into 3rd grade here. Navajo weavers, African weavers. We did a Caldecott project where you looked at the illustration that an artist did for a children's book. Those are artists too, illustrators. So you could look back at that Caldecott book, you could choose that artist. We studied the printmakers in 3rd grade when we did our printmaking. Andy Warhol, Katsushika Hokusai, the Japanese printmaker. And then some of us studied Rene Magritte in surrealism when we did our silhouette portraits. All right. Also, guys, if none of these are exciting to you to talk about, this we probably most recently have talked the most about him, and you probably know the most about him right now from art class. But these artists don't have to be ones you've studied in art class. I know that some of you guys like to draw from comic books or like video game characters. The people that create those are artists too. Excuse me. We've done a lot of pottery in the past couple years and not talked about artists, specific artists. We've talked more about technique there, but I bet you could go online and find some ceramic artists that make pottery and you could talk about them. So those are just to give you some ideas about artists that you may talk about for this third bullet right here. Okay? And then when you go, you're going to pick one of your artworks that you would like to discuss using appropriate art terms. All right? And so in here, maybe they'll choose the one you talk about, and in here, you get to choose the one you talk about. All right? So you're going to talk about the artwork that you've made. And I might have mentioned to some of you guys that you could use your Chuck Close self-portrait in this, but then I looked back at this form, and that will not be the case, because it says right here, the artwork is to be done on your own and not as a class assignment. So you won't be able to use anything that you've already made in art class. It has to be stuff that you make just for this portfolio. You guys are the youngest students that can audition. I know it's a lot of work. I wouldn't have nominated you if I didn't feel like you were up to the challenge. So, but do be prepared that it is a lot of work. So you'll want to get started on it. Maybe you have already, or as soon as you can, to be able to get it all done, because you're going to have 4 artworks that you need to have as in your portfolio. That means your collection of artworks. Okay. Draw a still life from observation that includes 3 objects that portray or represent you. What I'm looking at, guys, is this is exactly the same as last year, so I hope that this is updated. Okay, yes, I just referred to another art teacher, and she said, yeah, these are the same requirements, maybe not last year, but a couple of years ago. So when you're drawing this still life, remember, you're going to set up some things, you're going to look at them and draw what you see. They need to represent you. And be prepared to talk about how each object represents you. So for, just think about things like, paintbrush seems like an obvious choice if you're a painter, or maybe a pencil, or hobbies you like, things you like, food you like, things that represent who you are. And let's see, so the second one, use mixed media, create an artwork of a landscape or a cityscape. Okay, mixed media means you didn't just make it with one thing. You can use collage and draw back into it, or do a painting and add collage into it, like cut and paste paper and add it to your picture. Means you're using more than one media. Media is what you make an artwork with. Mixed means it's not just one media, but it's more than one. Create a self-portrait. You guys know all about this. It says it's open-ended. Any medium, technique, or process can be used creatively. All right? So we just finished a Chuck Close inspired portrait painting or drawing. So you know what a self-portrait is, and you know one technique to use. You could think about doing a similar technique and changing it. It says creatively, so that was more of a direct technique. You might want to think about a more original idea for this one here, because all of these have to be created just for this portfolio. And this is already a lot, it's a lot of artwork to create in a short amount of time, depending on when your audition is. Okay, but I know that they come up real quick after you get the information. The fourth one is your choice. Okay, so it's like a free work. A work of art that has been created exclusively for the audition. That means it's a new artwork created just for this. This work can be a drawing, painting, sculpture, mixed media, print, collage, original photograph, video, pottery, textile, etc. This artwork should represent your strengths as an artist. So what are you best at? Think about that, and then make an artwork, a free artwork of your choice. Okay, show your strengths. And we talked about this, that you have to create it just for this thing. And then this is important down here. Students may request advice and help from their art teacher, that's me, for preparing audition material. However, no direct assistance such as dictation of decisions or hands-on help by parents, teachers, or friends will be permitted. That's why it can't be a classroom assignment, because it can't be something that I've asked you to do, okay? Because then that means that I've made decisions about the project. You need to make all the decisions yourself, which is good. You get some ownership over it. It'll just be yours. The process of preparing a portfolio, interviewing, and participating in the workshop for TriDAC should be a valuable and positive learning experience for all participants. So you'll get a lot out of it, whether or not you end up going to the summer program. The process is one that should be valuable for you. Okay, and then here are just some notes about the rules. Okay, so the artwork should be presented in a manner that is appropriate for display, so mounted on color construction paper or poster paper. So you just want to, once you finish a picture, you want to mount it. You can look in the hallway, see the way I prepare artwork for display. That's the idea. You know, a larger paper, and then you put your paper on top so that this is like a display for it. And you can just use double stick tape to glue that on. Don't use a liquid glue. You could use a glue stick to glue your artwork to a background paper. I recommend black or gray, or if your picture's really dark, maybe you would go white for your background. So like that's your artwork, okay? And you want to just mount it on something that will make it look good for display when you present it to the people there. No notebook paper will be accepted. It's got to be your original artwork. Your brother or sister, or I can't draw it for you, parents can't draw it for you. You have to create the artwork. You can't have any copyrighted characters. That means somebody else came up with those. So comic book and manga characters or manga, those are created by an artist, and you can't steal their work, so you have to create your own work. And here's where it talks about your folder. Each student should prepare a portfolio folder made of poster paper stapled on 3 sides. Write the following information on the portfolio cover before you arrive at the audition. So guys, that just means you take a big poster board, the ones you can buy, I think you can even get them at the grocery store, fold it in half, okay? It's paper stapled on 3 sides. I guess what they're saying is maybe you have 2 of them, stack them up like a sandwich, and then staple along 3 sides. Depending on the size of your artwork, you could also fold it and then, you know, push those sides together and then staple it just on 2 sides. It would already be connected there. And then make sure you get this information on it, okay? And on the border or base of each artwork, write or tape the number corresponding to the assignment above. All 2D artwork should be placed in the portfolio and brought to the audition. So what that means is that all of the flat artwork goes in the folder, and if you have a, if you have a sculpture that you're taking with you, you can carry that. You obviously can't put that into the folder. Now, on the base of each artwork, so like right down here in the corner of the artwork, you want to put the number, okay? So here's a smiley face. So say, obviously this wouldn't be enough for the artwork, but if that were the example of my self-portrait, then I would take a piece of tape or write a number 3 down there. That's so that they know which artwork is which assignment, okay? And then you guys know when to go and show up and where to go. All right, so that's what I know about this. That's what I can help you with this. If you have other questions, then you can email me. You can talk to me after school. You can come by. Or you can call me here in the classroom and ask me questions. This, if you have questions outside of school, okay? If I have a class, then that might not be a good time to come and ask me questions, but throughout the day, if you have a question that comes up and you need to ask me, call me, email me, come by, and if I don't have the time then, we can find a time I can answer any other questions that come up. I wish you the best of luck. I'm excited that you are going to audition. I do want to say again, it's a lot of work. It should be fun for you. I know that you enjoy creating artwork, so you should enjoy doing the work, but it is a lot of work. So you'll want to get started on it as soon as possible. Okay, guys. Thank you.